all the excitement in the college football playoff potentially for Alabama, there's a lot going on here in Birmingham the last month. And since the last time we saw this guy, UAB head coach Bill Clark, so many exciting things for your program in the last couple of weeks. The first thing I want to talk about is, you mentioned the last time you were here, the importance of a football facility. Right. What happened with that?
Well, it was just a great series of events. You know, some things we've really been working on since June have kind of come to fruition. You know, our business leaders, our community, our administration, and the Board of Trustees really came together. The board granted us a bond. So just for our football operations building, and of course we want to create a covered pavilion like an indoor facility. So all these things got agreed upon. They're going to set the bond up for us. Now we've got to, of course, go out and find architects and do all those things. But really some great news.
So this facility is good to go.
Correct.
It's going to happen. And what's the timetable on finishing the construction?
Well, you know, there's a process any university goes through where, you know, you have to get approval from all the steps. But somewhere in the February, March, you know, we'll get approval. There'll be phases that we go through. But our timetable is really hopefully June of 17 before the season starts. We'll be in that building and hopefully that indoor facility will hopefully be even done maybe even before then.
How big is that to have it done by the time you're playing football again?
Oh, it's huge. And obviously, you know, we're doing a lot of things now, but our players and our coaches, everybody understands that we're working towards something. You know, we don't mind waiting on a little bit of progress, but just to have that when we start in 17. And really we felt like that's what we were missing. You know, we had the community, we had the great school. We need the facility, and the commitment is just so big. It's exciting.
He also said the last time he was on the program here that getting a new stadium would be nice, but it'd be icing on the cake. Well, the icing on the cake's kind of getting real here now, folks, because UAB this week has just approved a proposal to have a new stadium attached to the BJCC, 45,000 to 55,000 seats. Obviously just a proposal.
Sure.
But what's the process with that right now?
Well, you know, this is really something the BJCC, our city, are really involved in. They've kept us in the loop. You know, once again, the trustees agreed to do a 20-year lease, which says we're all in. You know, that we're going to be part of it. We'll be tenants there. It's, you know, you're looking at about 2 miles from our campus. So I think it's going to be great for our city. It's going to be great for our community. It's going to be obviously great for us. And you've got other people that'll use it as well. It's just a win for everybody.
So the facilities are on their way. You got to get football players on campus. He can't talk about recruits, so I'm going to name the list here. 12 commits for 2016, 3 from Arizona, 3 from Texas. They're not just in the Southeast here. The #1 class right now in Conference USA, and they got a big weekend coming up this coming weekend. Talk about that.
Well, you know, I can't say a lot about it other than to say we've got a big weekend. Every weekend has been big. I will say that the kids that are visiting us are seeing this vision. They see this school. We were doing a good job last year without, you know, not great facilities. So now with this vision coming and getting a chance to be part of really making history, they're seeing this town, how great it is. It's exciting. We've got to get all these guys signed on the dotted line, you know, in December, and of course we'll have another group in February. But it's going well. Just
the fact that you have 12 commits for a year where you're not even playing football. What are you selling for the year that they're not playing football?
Well, you know, it's a team effort. Our guys are doing a great job, and I really believe when we get guys on our campus, they meet our academic staff, our administration, they meet our students, our fans are reaching out to these guys, talking about how important UAB football is and how important it is to this town. I think it's this big vision of family, and that's really who we are. You know, I talk all the time about I used to say this as a high school coach, hey, go talk to the players. What do they say? And I think when they get in, they talk to our players, former players, and say it really is a family. They do care about you. You know, we've got guys in the NFL from last year that are speaking volumes for, I think, how we train, et cetera. So I think it's this big picture. And with these facilities coming, and we know it's a fact, I think all of it's starting to really come together.
A lot of people do not realize how grueling and a brutal process it is recruiting day in and day out. And like I said, these guys aren't just getting people from Alabama, Mississippi. You're getting Arizona. You're getting Texas. What's the process like with the coaches now, since you're not playing football next year? What's the process of going out and recruiting? Who's going where? What's that like?
Sure. You know, I think, and when I talk around, this is a good question everybody asks, you know, how do you do it? What do you do? And I think since June, we've really kind of, once we met with the NCAA and our conference about these are the rules we've got to follow. This is, you know, the numbers we have. And you know, it's not been a blank check that we've been given by the NCAA, but they did give us the ability to have a frozen clock for these guys where they don't lose eligibility. So once we found that out, we really started spreading out around the country, and we've basically created a bio on each of these guys, and who are the guys that make a difference in their life? Who do they listen to? What's important to them? So we know what we're selling, but we also know who these guys are, what they're about. What do they bring to the table? And I think these kids, as they come in, are seeing, wow, we're pretty special. These guys know a lot about us.
And all the kids coming in next year's recruiting class are going to start official NCAA regulated practices next fall. And you told me before it's going to be basically a season without a season. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so we'll do something this spring. It will be nothing like what we're going to do in the fall, but really starting in May, June, July, we want to train just like we had games coming up in August. We're going to have a camp. We're going to have some type of scrimmage game, like you would expect in the spring. We're going to have 3 of those, maybe even the week before everybody else's season starts, where we open it up to the public. Our band will be there, our cheerleaders. We're going to go stay in the hotel the night before, 3 of these contests. We're going to prepare for opponents.
This is in the spring.
No, this is in the fall.
This will be next fall.
Yeah,
okay.
So we're going to try and treat next fall as close to a game season as we can. Obviously, we're still going to be recruiting real hard, but we want those guys to know what that year is going to look like. How do we prepare for opponents? What does it look like when we travel on the road? As much as we can, we're going to try and make it normal.
Lastly here, how great has this gone for you in the last couple months, and being so uncertain for so long? And then so many great things have happened in the last few weeks. How has that been for you mentally?
It's been terrific. I mean, I think to see the fruition of all these people that have fought for us and worked hard, and really the coming together of our school and the people there. I'm seeing more UAB gear than I've ever seen, and then to have a great, our trustees relationship is really growing, and I think we're all starting to buy into the same vision. It's going well.
Well, hey, we want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
And he's going to be a busy guy next year, hoping to get him back on the Red Zone pregame next season. We'll be right back after this.